2023 Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Wednesday nights are here, and that means it's time for another Auburn Family Night. This is the show where you, our audience, and the Auburn family take center stage. We're going to talk about exactly what you want to discuss. The topics, the questions, the comments, the calls. All that's coming up right now. War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we discuss and share in the Auburn experience, all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing on this evening's live stream, as we call it for Wednesday nights, Auburn Family Night. This is one of my favorite shows that we do here at E2C Network because, A, it's about you, the Auburn family. B, it's pretty easy for the most part. Can't not come prepared to talk about something, but obviously you guys make the magic here on the show on Wednesday night, those of you that choose to watch this live. So come on in, hang out with us for a little bit. Make sure you're hitting that like button, the share button, however you can do that to help us out, let people know that we're live, that they should join in on the conversation. Do that for us this evening because it's been a minute since we've been together. There's been some conflicts. Basketball season, they get a little bit tricky with us having to bounce around, and we're not done with that yet this season of Auburn Family Night. So come on, gather around the table, smash the like button, and let's get going. You can also take part in our call-in link this evening if you'd like to. That's now available to you. Should be pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube, but I think you can find it on Facebook. I think we put it up there for you. So take a look at that if you can, and consider calling in this evening. Maybe we'll hear from some of our regulars, but if you've never taken the opportunity to call Auburn Family Night, now's the night. Now's the time to do it, especially in one of these periods where it's a little bit slower and stuff like that, where there's not as many people maybe watching if you're nervous about how you may look or sound or things like that. I mean, I don't know why you'd be worried about that. Look at me, listen to me. But this is a good opportunity for some of you who've been sitting back, not utilizing that as much. You need to do that this evening. So come on in, hang out with us, and spend some time with us this evening. We got a lot of fine folks checking in from across the land. By the way, Mr. WT, I was in Pelham this weekend for a decent amount of time. So just a little bit of a shout out to you as well. We got WT, we got Neil in the house, we got Micah. We also have Mr. Brian Fulcher from the Great White North, which is still going to be much snowier and whiter than even this blizzard that's coming through the southeast, or was coming through the southeast, is going to be. But welcome to Brian from up there in the Great White North. Lots of our regulars are already here. If you're in the background watching, please don't be shy. We would love to know who's watching. Come on in, hang out with us a little bit this evening. So you guys pick the topics. You pick the where we're going in our conversation. Certainly, I can just yammer on all night. We want to hear primarily from you. We have titled this one Portal Completion, and I should have put a question mark there because I think that more implies what I meant with that title. Tigers and the pros, a lot of that going on right now, and of course anything else that you want to talk about in the Auburn sports, culture, and family space. We can certainly talk about all of the additions that continue to come in from the portal. How many more do we have? I don't know, but we could speculate on it if we want to. We obviously have Dylan in the NBA, what he's doing. Janai had a great time too with 50-point spot. We got a lot of pros stories with Bo and Stidham and Carlton Davis, Derek Hall, lots of others that are still like Jarquez is still active. So if that's something of interest to you this evening, certainly you can choose that for us to head into our discussion point. Nathan checking in from Chicago. So we got Minnesota, Illinois, Alabama, and I know Georgia checking in with us tonight. Anybody else got a state that they want to give a shout out to representing there this evening from all across the Auburn space? All right. Let's see here. Kyle must have blocked my comments then. I was watching the Patriots game and posted about Carlton Davis having 2 interceptions. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there. I haven't blocked you. I blocked a lot of people, but I haven't blocked you. Are you seriously in Guam? Like watching us in Guam, or are we just being funny, which is kind of your MO, Neil? Or are we serious? Like, and first of all, if you are really in Guam, why are you there without us? See, oh, never can just take it for face value with you sometimes. Auburn family night with that 1 or 2 weird in-laws, one being me. Well, if that's how you choose to view yourself there, Micah. I was there on Sunday. I think maybe Kyle blocked my post. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. So I don't know what's the whole block my post thing is here. I'm following conversations here in the chat, which can sometimes be a little bit distracting. What else? Somebody brought up something earlier in the chat. Here we go. This is from Neil. Sad that Bo got hurt. Excited to see Stidham step up in the Sean Payton offense. Carlton Davis might be the best defensive player of the 4 remaining teams. He certainly showed that last game, so maybe you're right there, Neil. The Bo and Stidham story was already cool with that dynamic of having both been at Auburn, one following the other, now one starting over the other, and a guy choosing to stay as the backup quarterback. People forget that he re-signed this year, choosing to stay with his friend and I don't know, colleague in a sense. I guess it is his colleague. That was a really cool story as well. So it is sad and good all at the same time. And certainly I'm sure we'll hear a lot of the, Indiana Hoosiers talk tonight as well. All right. We got our first call lined up tonight, and this is surprising. It's not Kevin. Where is Kevin? Somebody get a check on Kevin. I need to know where he's at, but he's already ready, lined up, and ready to go. There he is. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, War Eagle.
War Eagle to you, buddy.
I mean, I debated, can I call in before Kevin? I feel like maybe that's some kind of like superstition thing you shouldn't do or something. But
it feels a little sacrilegious here. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I could hang up and call back. But,
nah, we'll go ahead and work you in. I'm sure when he figures out that we're on, he'll pop in.
All right, good. I hope so. We hope you're out there, Kevin. And it's just been a minute since I've been able to get on one of these on a Wednesday night. It's been busy. But
yes, sir.
I thought we'd do this Auburn weather report. So is snow, because it was a year ago today, you guys had snow, if I saw your post correctly.
You are correct. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the mega snow that was last year that I'm still remissing about and dreaming
about. The mega
about.
snow.
For Auburn.
I know. The mega snow.
It was awesome.
What is the storm path? I haven't looked. Is the storm path, is it on track for the 2026 version, or is it adjusting?
No, I don't know that Auburn was ever truly in danger of that. Okay. Where I am, and Neil, I believe Neil is similarly in line with me. Mm-hmm. We would have at one time been in a track for potential snow, but more heavy ice.
Yeah.
Now that has shifted.
We've had heavy ice here. I don't know if you've heard or not, but
Yeah, I've heard that. But yeah, I think Auburn is safe from any of that right now. That's not to say there wouldn't be a little bit of it, just that, you know how these storms go. You can only predict them so much. But
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of where we're at.
We are, since this is, Auburn weather report, we are getting like the worst weather I think we've had in 7 years this weekend.
Wow.
Absurdly cold, snow. It's not good.
But at least you're used to it, and so you know.
Not used to this.
Well, that's fair.
No,
that's fair.
This is like 40 below, like wind chill.
This is a good excuse for you to hunker down and throw on some good old replays of some good games and things like that.
Don't need a good reason, but that is a good reason.
Yes.
Thankfully, we play. I don't know, thankfully, but we play Florida on Saturday. That should be good, right?
Oh, that's a good thing that everybody should be getting ready and excited for. Now, that
Yeah.
is, I think, at like, I forget what
Three-
time it was
I think it's
exactly.
3 o'clock Central.
I think you're right. 4
Yeah.
o'clock Eastern over here for
Yeah.
us weirdos. And
We're
so
weird. Just
we're weird. Trust
we
me.
run on Auburn time on this channel, don't we? Come on.
We do.
Yeah.
I try my best to keep my mindset and Auburn time and everything that we do, but it's
Yeah.
just so hard to like break myself of that because I got into this debate. I think it was with Austin, maybe on last week's show or the week before that, about, time zones and stuff like that. And I said, my one complaint about Auburn, if I have one, is in living, what would be potentially living there one day, is how close they are to the edge of the time zone, which means that they get the worst of the, the light changes and stuff like that. That is my one complaint. If you have that about living in Auburn.
So my father is retired and he lives in Bullhead City, Nevada, Bullhead City, Arizona, which is literally on the border with Laughlin, Nevada. And they are in different time zones. So like he has a little retirement job and he has to be very aware of what time it is and where he has to be because
I bet
it's just kind of goofy, like if he has to be to work at 10 o'clock, he leaves at 10:45. Like it's, one of those deals, but
that's, I don't know how I would do managing that because
I would do bad.
I would wake up so confused about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And it's funny since we're on this kind of subject. So like Jessica and I, I don't know how much I've told y'all about Jessica, my wife, but she's a nurse and she's actually a nurse leadership now. But, talking about ever moving to Auburn, she would obviously want to continue being a nurse in some capacity. There's a major-ish hospital in Auburn, but, don't want to limit yourself. So I always joked with her. I said, well, you could drive to Columbus. And she's like, I do not want to have to deal with the time change.
Time zone. Yep.
And I was like, that's understandable. So we've had that conversation even related to Auburn outside of like it getting darker there quicker and things like that. Here's the positive though, Brian. It creates some beautiful sunsets. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the way they're in the times. I just feel like
I think it does actually. I really do.
Auburn does have some great sunsets.
Yeah. So my former brother-in-law was the chief of staff at Fort Benning for a number of years. And unfortunately, he was an Alabama fan. But like I took him to the 2013 Iron Bowl. That worked out well. It was a good day. But yeah, I remember just that. Like you said, Columbus to Auburn. That's close enough that it gets weird with that. Oh yeah, it's an hour different time zone thing. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that we've debated about what would happen in that sense. If that ever did happen, what would she do? And it doesn't seem like that's on the table for her right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm smack dab in the middle of my time zone and I'm pretty happy about it. So
yeah. Well, you're probably like in the sweet spot, right where you want to be. Here, back on this thing, time
be a little further south, but yeah. Anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I actually have some neighbors. I know of like two family members. One is definitely moving to Auburn. The other is trying to move to Auburn. And then one friend group, literally neighbors, they are actually moving to Auburn. So it's like everybody is like rubbing it in my face right now.
Yeah.
They're getting to move to Auburn and I'm not, and they're leaving me behind. Now it creates more opportunities for people for me to stay with. But
so here's the thing, Kyle. So in 10 years when I retire and I move to Auburn, I hope you're there. So
listen, I would love to have like some land or something where I could like have a little rental house that I could rent out. But also I throw you a bone and say, just come on.
Yeah.
This game week, just come on in here.
Yeah, that'd be great. So anyway, no, I mean, I don't have anything super exciting. It is kind of a little bit of a lull. I'm excited. I know you guys, or you're not a huge NFL guy, but what do you think of Stidham playing on Sunday? I think it's foolish to write them off just because Bo's hurt.
Are people actually writing them off because Bo's hurt?
I feel like that's the narrative I hear like on sports radio and stuff. And I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just here that they talk about that way. But I'm just like, Stidham can throw. Stidham might be a better thrower than Bo. Bo's a better quarterback all around.
Right.
But Stidham's got a great arm.
You might say it this way, that maybe Stidham is more well-rounded, at least from what we know of him here at Auburn and the limited sightings we've had of him in the NFL. But Bo is certainly just the athlete and the magic maker type of guy, which sometimes, covers up any deficiencies and stuff. But clearly, Bo is. If Bo wasn't it's a shocker, folks. If someone wins the starting job, they're the best one out.
They're the guy. Yeah.
It's a foreign
And I
concept.
think Bo has that. I go back to that first game as a freshman against Oregon, and that throw, in the end zone to win it. Like, he's got that clutch gene or whatever you want to call it. He just has that. The moment's not too big for him, and you can't teach that, obviously.
Let me pose a question to you in this light. I love what you brought up there. You brought up the Oregon because that's his first, step into the limelight in his first game.
Yeah.
And do you think that's the bigger play, or the LSU scramble for your life, find Tyler Fromm in the end zone?
I think the LSU one's a bigger play.
Yeah.
Especially given the opponent and where it was at and all those things. Mm-hmm. But I think that a freshman, and that game was in Arlington, right? It was like
in Arlington.
Yeah, just national. It was the Fowler and Herb Street and game day and all that stuff, and just he wasn't afraid of the moment. I guess was my thing. I don't think it's his biggest play as an Auburn Tiger. I just think it was that first moment, like, oh, this kid's not afraid.
Yeah. He was born for the moment.
He's born for the moment, and I don't know if you heard or not. His dad went to Auburn, but anyway.
I also heard Jarrett Stidham went to Texas, or was from Texas.
It was from Texas. Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think it's fun. I was joking with a friend of mine who's a big Cal fan, actually. He was at the Cal game with me a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And he's like, do you think Denver should sign Cam Newton as their backup now? He's young enough. He can still play. And I'm like, it's got to be an Auburn guy, obviously. So
absolutely. I'm excited for Stidham. Like, I truly am.
Him too.
Because you don't really... It's a unique story, like choosing to stay behind Bo and, being such a great teammate and supporter of him, even though you were the guy before him at Auburn. I think it's really cool. So I'd love to see him rewarded in this way. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, though. So let's say Stidham does have this Nick Foles type run to the Super Bowl. And even if he doesn't win it, they make it there next week and he plays well enough. You've got this dynamic coming back of, Bo's the guy, but Jarrett's obviously deserving of some attention for what he did in the crunch time.
The leash would get a little shorter, wouldn't it?
It's just like, what do you do? Does Jarrett finally get the offers that because I'm of the opinion that I shouldn't say no one, that maybe he hasn't been given as many opportunities as he should have. You're given an opportunity every time you go out there to practice, every time you come in the game late or whatever. That's your opportunities. You make the most of it. But I would. Part of me wants to see Bo secured in his spot and not have anything problems there. But also, I want Jarrett to succeed. I want him to, find his place on an NFL team. And look, all these NFL teams that are getting rid of their head coaches have had struggles with, drafting these poor quarterbacks. Give Jarrett Stidham a chance if he shows you he deserves it with this one.
I would love him to show out, take him to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Denver says I stick with Bo, and Jarrett ends up a Minnesota Viking. I'd have no problem with that.
You'd be sitting pretty at that point.
Be pretty happy. Yeah. I'd be a happy guy if we did that. But I agree. Were you going to say nobody loses their job to injury? Because that's not true.
Yeah. I mean, that's my other point here. And I know this will kill you because I love seeing him in the orange and blue.
Yep.
What if Jarrett went to the Bears?
I'd be happy for him, but he's not going to get ahead of Caleb Williams, though.
That's fair.
I mean, obviously I don't like my rivals, but I always will cheer for anybody who played for Auburn. I was having this conversation with some buddies yesterday over beer, and it was like, who's your favorite sports team of, and I was asking, well, like, is Auburn football one team and Auburn basketball another team, or is it just Auburn, right?
Right.
'Cause I'm a pretty big Vikings fan, but I'm like, it's Auburn football for me. Mm-hmm. That's my number one team, and then the Vikings, and then probably Auburn basketball, like in that order. So, but it's, as much as I want my Vikings to someday finally get there, I always cheer for anybody who went to Auburn to have success. I don't care where. Even in, God forbid, Green Bay, I'd still cheer for them to have success.
I just need Green Bay to stop drafting Alabama players.
Bama
My
players.
God.
I know.
My gosh.
Such a pipeline.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
I have trouble, not trouble, I shouldn't say. I have like a taste that gets in my mouth when I have to cheer for an Auburn player on the Patriots. I do not like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Even though Tom Brady's gone,
Yeah.
but
That's where
Carlton
Stidham started.
Davis, I know.
Yeah.
It was horrible to have
Yeah.
Stidham be there, and I was very happy when he went other places
Yeah.
to see if he could get some of that.
Carlton Davis is there, right?
Yeah, did I not say Carlton Davis?
I think you started to. Yeah, he's there,
yeah,
right?
Carlton Davis. Yeah,
okay.
so that's the problem is that Carlton had this great game. And I'm like, yeah, Carlton. And I'm like, that means the
Patriots. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it, and I'll let you go. I do it even in like I'm a huge golf nut. I know we've talked about that before. Like Justin Thomas, I like. He's a great golfer, good personality, great for the game. But I'll be watching it, and someone's like, "Why don't you like JT more?" And I'm like, "He went to Bama." Like I just can't. I can't get past that. So
and then Bubba Wallace not Bubba Wallace, that's NASCAR.
Bubba Watson.
Bubba Watson went to Georgia, right?
There's a lot of good Georgia players on the PGA Tour.
There's a lot of good Auburn ones too that are coming up. Like maybe not
coming up.
Duffner's not really doing much these days. If he's
no, but there's this team the last 2 years will put some great players on tour. I can't think of his name. It starts with a K. Koiven. Yeah, he's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's gonna be phenomenal.
Junior had somebody actually ask him about today on the TikTok stream, so I think that's starting to kind of generate a little bit. And he was like, "Don't y'all have like the number one player?" I was like, "Well, he won the Hogan Award. That's what it was."
Forgot won the Hogan Award.
As a freshman, came in like I think the official thing was second last year.
Second, yeah,
he was
top three for sure. Yeah,
but I think he was second.
I think so too. I know he had enough points. This is way inside nerdy stuff, but he had enough points to qualify for membership on the tour, and he returned, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've got a great group of guys that are there right now, also alongside them, that they, obviously get lost a little bit in the shuffle with a superstar like that, but they are obviously part of a champion. Some of them still are part of a championship team.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. All right, man. Well, it's good to talk to you. Do we find Kevin? Is he backstage yet?
I don't see Kevin backstage, so maybe Kevin's busy. I
hope he is.
He's a popular guy, so
he is. All right, everybody, stay safe. War Eagle.
All right, War Eagle. Great to hear from Brian tonight. And I forgot to mention Brian. I don't know if he can still hear me or not. I don't think he can in the background. I would just say this real quick. If you are on one of their members here on YouTube side of things, I know we're broadcasting to Facebook, other places, but if you're on YouTube and you're a member, so I'm looking at WT's already in there. Who else was in here that I wanted to give a shout out to? But Brian as well. Make sure you guys are taking advantage of being part of the Discord. You have the ability to access that. It's a little bit more complicated than going through the Patreon, which is why we encourage you to do it through that. That one's a little less involved of you having to do some setup things on your side. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. So if you haven't, we'd love to have you in there, be part of the conversation. And it's a perk for you as a channel member here. I think it's set to where anybody can have access to that Discord, just like who is a regular contributor of supporting what we do here. Just so I was like, tell him that before he leaves. Remind him that we've been having that conversation about getting him switched over through that avenue for him. Okay, let's get back into it here. What do you guys want to discuss? What do you want to share about? We did a lot of Auburn pro talk. WT says, I don't care where a player went to school as long as they help my pro team. I just don't get as involved in that. Does going on Discord help E2C financially? If so, I'll make an effort to get on there. I should say it doesn't help. The Discord is really for you guys. It is for y'all to have a community of people that support what we do, and I'm in there as well, and I do my best to kind of stay up in there. You're in there, WT. I know. I hope you know that. Like, I remember you chatting in there sometimes, but it's really just for you guys to kind of hang out, and I'll interact some. AJ's in there, Austin's obviously in there too, but we encourage people to go through the Patreon, which is that monthly thing, but you can also be a monthly person here, as you've also chosen to do so, and that's a perk of that too. So you're kind of doubled up there. But it really the help that it has is you guys just being active in there and generating conversation amongst yourselves with us and stuff like that, and just having a good time and making it something people want to be a part of. As signing up to be a channel member, signing up to be a Patreon member, that is what actually helps. I don't care, again, to caring about team sports. Also, I don't like the Patriots to win. Listen, we learned to dislike these, dynasties and things like that, and that definitely was part of it. So I care to some degree. I don't care to the level that probably most of y'all do for pro sports. This was from Neil earlier. Bo's thrown for almost 4K yards this year and cut down his interceptions. Denver has the best record in the NFL. I thought I saw that too, Neil. So thanks for sharing that. Bo certainly is defying a lot of the odds, and it hurts so bad for him and for those that support him, seeing him struggle this way with his injuries. Because he's overcome a lot. He was handed a raw deal here at Auburn. He came to play for one head coach and was forced to play with another, who further made things worse, and went and gained the ire of a lot of the Auburn fandom, who all look just so stupid now for their criticism of him. But he's risen above the odds, and he's a very talented quarterback. I still, to this day, I said this recently on, was that maybe the Auburn Experience show, where I remembered the stream for our first home game of that year, whatever it was, and Georgia is playing Oregon, Bo's first game with them, and he was having a terrible first game and just went on to have a great first season with Oregon and then a great second season where he was the Heisman front runner at once. And I just remember those people just saying, I told y'all he wasn't any good. I'm like, y'all are so stupid sounding when you say things like this. And anyway, that's the benefit of being an idiot on the internet. You can say what you want and it gets forgotten about, but God, you look like a jerk in the moment. Anyway, Kyle, did you see an improvement in the Auburn basketball team defense against Ole Miss? It looked improved to me. So I guess my question to you, WT, and I'd love to hear if you've thought about this, or it just feels that way. Do you have like a concrete thing that makes it feel like or seem like they improved their defense? Because I'm going to guess it has something to do with the score. Which I'm not saying is a wrong way to think about it. The SEC has been very, very good at scoring this year. Multiple teams. I forget there was a stat out there at one point, the average score for the SEC games or the SEC teams, even in non-conference play. Offense has not been at a premium. Offense has been easy to come by. So maybe because it's this 78-66 win, which is on the lower end of what we're kind of used to seeing, I'm guessing that's what led it to down a little bit. It just seemed with them shutting Ole Miss out of the paint most of the game and forcing them into their outside shots. So great points to bring up as well. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Bruce Pearl and now Stephen Pearl teams have made their calling card for is great defense. Some would say, well, what happened this year? Well, things don't just translate automatically already, especially when you're changing over a whole new team. Yeah, I would say that it felt like they had their offense under a little bit more control. Some of that is back towards the score a little bit. Certainly some things that you were noticing there. It's one game and a call for improvement in that area, but I think there's a lot to like it from that game. Last night's game to me felt like it was quietly, what's the word I'm looking for, the phrase, reassuring if you are a level-headed Auburn fan that this team is all right, if you had any doubts about that. We'll keep bouncing around here. This is from Micah. So I have a question, kind of goes to Auburn with Cam Coleman. So teams further in the playoffs just get screwed on players like him and other good ones. Do you think the portal should change? Trying to see the tie back to Auburn other than just Cam Coleman there. Do you think kind of goes to Auburn with Cam Coleman. So teams further in the playoffs, just do you think the portal should change? Listen, I think we all recognize that whether it's portal, NIL, things just aren't the way we would like them to be. I think that's not really something that I've thought about a whole lot. I mean, to be honest, if there is a disadvantage to those in the playoffs, it feels like a great equalizer of sorts. It's kind of like the NFL draft, they don't get to get the quote unquote best players first. I don't know, just an initial thought about it. I hadn't really thought about it all that much, Micah. Let's see here. I see where you tied it in. Let's see. Where am I at? In the chat here. I just don't see him in the same light as someone as like Aiden Holloway and how they leave. Okay, so I think this was regarding Bo loves Auburn. He was in a really crappy situation, but I was happy to see him succeed. Yeah, listen, I think we all recognize that we were happy to see the man have at least some success given what he had to go through here at Auburn. I think most level-headed Auburn fans now are good with Bo Nix. I have seen some that still don't want him to succeed because they want to be proven right. Like I've legitimately seen that. Don't want to be proven wrong about their, quotations about him and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so wrapping all that together, it gives me reason to follow the NFL playoffs and stuff when there's Auburn guys in it, but also ones of this significant nature right now. Back to the weather reports earlier, I've seen it's moved further north towards Coleman, Anniston, north towards the Tennessee Valley. Yeah, I don't think Auburn's getting anything, if I'm not mistaken. WT, back to basketball. I think Auburn needs to either practice the 3-shot or stop going to it so much. I know they can hit it, but sometimes they go to it too much. I feel like it only feels that way when they're having a stretch of poor shooting. They, to my recollection, and I'm not the keeper of all knowledge, but they have not shot the 3-ball that horribly this year, aside from these back-to-back games, which have been horrible. But to me, I'm more encouraged by what I saw them do in those 2 games while they were shooting horrendously, one at home, but also the one on the road here, about how they were able to find offense other ways and not find themselves into a hole, because it's so easy to fight yourself out of a hole if you can shoot the 3-ball well or create so much distance between you if you already have a lead. So to me, I mean, maybe we wait and see if it's just a weird little streak they're on right now. I felt like at least it wasn't as bad as maybe as you thought it was. But again, I'm not the keeper of all Auburn knowledge. Kyle, what are you looking forward to this year with Auburn sports? So we're talking about from this year. I believe it or not, I know probably you're going to roll your eyes at me, but I'm really interested to see what the women's tennis team is going to do. I've had a lot of people asking about them because of where they've been ranked. I think they're 4th as of today, but some people had them in their preseason spring polls as the number 1 team. If you understand kind of what's been happening with that program for a few years, even with the transition, they were really set up for success. So that feels like that could be the type of men's golf run that we had. Men's golf is well positioned. I'm excited to see if they can make a run back with Jackson Coyven competing for the Ben Hogan Award again. That would be fun to watch. A lot of buzz right now about Auburn baseball. I'm getting asked about that just about as much as everything right here. Year 2 for softball could be interesting to see if they take that next step. And obviously March Madness is still on the table for both of these basketball teams. I'm just going through the whole gamut if you haven't figured that out right now. Year 2 for soccer under new head coach. He'll need a nice. We figured it out in the first year. Let's get back to the winning ways here. Would be nice. Volleyball is pretty solid. Had a great year, or a decent year. They're not done yet, actually, are they? Are they done yet? I should know. They've been done for a long time. What am I talking about? What I need to look into that and see what happened how am I not placing what happened with them? Doesn't matter. Anyway, and then first-year head coach. I hope that kind of breaks it all down for you. And, beats UF this weekend, big resume boost. That's a big one. The UF game this year, I'm excited about that one for football. So a lot of things I'm excited about this year, I guess. Let's see here. But if you're going to stop three, who's this? But if you're going to stop going to the three, who's to say that the next game it won't? But that can also be vice versa too. One thing they definitely need to practice is getting the ball inbound. They get sloppy and give up turnovers, but they also cause a lot of turnovers on the inbounds too, and it got them back in a couple of games. So what you're doing in practice to become so good at that, apply it to your against your inbound here and get better at it, I guess is what we need to say. Yeah, beating Florida at their place, which has a little bit of a stigma on it. Auburn's not won very much there, no matter who the coach is or how good the team is. So that would be kind of a monkey off your back situation, a resume booster. It would give you another SEC win, kind of legitimize yourself in the eyes of the SEC, but the college basketball landscape after a few struggles against some major opponents. Florida also, from what I understand, has had a little bit of I think underwhelming is too strong of a word. So it's not like what people were expecting Florida to be with everybody that they retained. But that would be a very impressive win for Stephen Pearl. In year one, you want to talk about the storylines with him being such good friends with Todd Golden and Todd being a former assistant here at Auburn under Bruce. WT says, I will not get overhyped on the baseball team until they show it on the field. Didn't we get burnt on an overhyped team in the recent past? So the season before last, the pitching was expected to be a lot better, and it just wasn't. And it was kind of a weird anomaly year. But, I mean, I feel like you could make that case for anything, really. What makes me excited for the baseball team was the young talent that was playing a lot last year and starting a lot, already being so great, and they're still here. So that should be maybe encouraging to you, I guess. Let's see here. Florida returns 7 scholarship players from last year. They lost the big 3 guards, but that will be a very tough game to win. But they retained, I think, all their big men, right? Chinyalu, was it Howard? I forget. Starts with an H. Micah said, sorry, I missed a word. Who's to say the 3 won't work one game, and it may work one game? You can't become one-dimensional only to get in the paint. Go to the paint, it becomes predictable. It can become, but if you're so good at it, which Auburn has been very good in the paint, courtesy of some of its bigs, Filipovich and Keyshawn Murphy, Keyshawn Hall has been good in the paint as well. So there's that. That was the team I'm thinking of. Thanks. I don't follow it close, but I remembered it being said they would go far with the pitching. Yeah, then we're on the same page then. It was a little bit shocking. Thomas Howe. That's how you say that. Howe or whatever you. Yes, that's who it is. Thank you. All right. I was wondering if we'd have this brought up tonight. How was Cam left off the College Football Hall of Fame? So let's do a little bit of research here for this conversation piece, because I think it's a good one for us to tackle this evening. So the 2026 class College Football Hall of Fame. I know some of the names, but let's look and see if we got everybody here and talk about it a little bit. All right. Oh, well, it's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So there is a long list here of people that had probably been waiting and things like that. I know I'm biased, but I will say that Mark Ingram being in the Hall of Fame feels a little. Is it because he had the Heisman okay. I mean, frankly, there was a Stanford running back that deserved it more than him that year. Had much better stats. I would argue that. Looking on here, Ndamukong Suh getting in but he played earlier than him, so that's very much warranted. Looking around to see if there's anybody else that just strikes me. Marvin Harrison just got in. Interesting. Aaron Donald getting in before Cam, same first year. Feels a little bit of a slight. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're all a little biased here. We think Cam should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. Ballot day one. I think he had one of the most incredible, some would say the most incredible single season in a Heisman run of any player that we've seen in the modern era, at least. And there's something to be said about that. So you just wonder, he's surely a shoo-in for the next time around. I think that would be obvious right there. You look at the marker like Mark Ingram getting in, you're like, maybe they just didn't have enough space and they knew they were going to get him in next time. I don't know. They snubbed Cam because the press loves to drop a deuce on Auburn. I have seen evidence to think that there is some of that goes on sometimes, but I don't think that was the case here. I don't see anybody that's just like, what? I mean, the majority of the people are older than him. Aaron Donald is the closest example. Mark Ingram right after that or right before that. Jordan Lynch. Interesting. I don't remember him being that good, and that was about the same time too. There's like 2 or 3 I could have some qualms with over Cam, but it doesn't seem that major to me at this point. I think that's probably why Donald got in ahead of Cam and Ingram. They had more time in college and more footage to see, and that's a fair point as well. It's not a bad point. If Joe Burrow gets in the Hall of Fame and Cam doesn't, oh boy, that's not happening. That's not happening. Cam seems to be a punching bag for ESPN, even though he's employed by them. Fart Mom is always getting in arguments with Cam on TV. Even said, Cam, what do you know about playing in a Super Bowl? So here's one thing that I had kind of learned on my own, but I've had kind of confirmed. This shouldn't shock anybody. Paul Feynman just loves to be the conversation piece. And so he will purposely do things to get reactions like this, Neil. I'm not saying he's still not fart bomb or whatever you call it, but having listened to him, used to for years, and seen his stuff obviously just because of college football, and it's a lot played up, and he does it for the clicks and the stuff like that, which is not the worst plan in the world. It's got you. Here's the thing we have to recognize, though, Neil. He got you to talk about him. The best way that you can let them, not be relevant is to not talk about them. But then we want to talk about it because of all that. Professional troll, and it brings engagement. Yeah, listen, I have always wrestled this as a content creator. I could get a lot more views and stuff if I would lean more into, especially the negativity side of things, but also the trolling side of things. It certainly gets you going. I don't, that doesn't feel right to me. I like the way that we handle ourselves here for the most part. I'm not saying we're perfect, but I feel like we found a nice way to survive and build our own audience doing things the way that we want to do them here. Defamation lawsuits. We'll see if that, maybe you're right. I don't know. Feinbaum likes to rile people up, kind of like some so-called local journalists on TikTok. That's not towards you, Kyle. It's towards another person. Do I know who we're talking about here? I feel like I'm asking myself, or setting myself up for failure here. Getting involved in a controversy. I'm scared to ask, but I also want to know, Micah, who we're referring to there. I appreciate that. Not you, Kyle, better be careful with tearing people down. News organizations get sued all the time for defamation. Yeah, I've just, I don't know. I used to be a lot more like what you need to do to be successful, a little bit more fiery and stuff like that. I guess I've just grown tired of that. Um, I think I've said this here. One of the biggest things I was known for was my disdain for Chris Todd, because I love Cody Burns so much. He took away Cody Burns' chance, in my opinion. I have learned, and I openly admit now, like, it's, if you knew me back then, the way I talked about Chris Todd, I was wrong, like 100% wrong. Do I still play that up sometimes with people I know that would be like, it's like, you still don't like Chris Todd? I was like, that kind of thing. But he was very much part of Auburn's history, and yeah, interesting. This is really, really interesting. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a very odd email that I don't know what's going on, but anyway, that was something on the show right now. Life is too short to worry about sports. So much more to life than an entertainment venue, something like that. Well, I've made my living around it, so obviously I'm not living by that, but I enjoy it. We try to keep it in the right perspective, and we do the best we can. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you for the kind words. Now, Alabama's trash, though. Oh man, had to get one in there right now. All right, we're sitting at 46 minutes here. We still got plenty of time. Let's get some more Auburn topics in here that we haven't discussed, especially yet. We can certainly roll back through. We've hit a little bit of the Tigers and the pros stuff already. Any opinions about the portal stuff? Any ones that y'all like that areas you still think they need to pick up in? We did a little bit of this on the TikTok stream today where I walked through. Somebody asked, do you think we'll get any more defensive linemen? And I think I came out that we have replaced all but one of the ones that left in the portal. And then you have to account for NFL draft and attrition and graduation. So maybe a few more, maybe. Got you, Micah. Is it true once you got rid of that hideous AU Santa that the basketball team started winning more? No, because the Santa went away 3 Auburn experiences ago, and they still were having what people would call struggles. But good try, though. Kyle, your Auburn hoodie looks great. Appreciate it. This is actually my favorite Auburn hoodie that I have. I don't know where I got it. I know y'all are surprised. I feel like y'all ask me that all the time. The reason I don't know a lot of the stuff that I get, we can do a little show and tell though. Reason I don't know where I get a lot of the stuff is because of, I just have old things. I don't get a lot of new things. Here is something new, and I shared a little about this in a post. My mother was shopping and saw a bunch of Auburn stuff on discount. No, Micah, it's not because nobody wants Auburn things. I took it away from but this is one of the items we shared on there, and I don't have a Auburn a Sailor Aubie hat, but there's that. If you kind of want to see it, it was $10, I think, so it's 50% off, basically. But it's it's a pretty cool hat. I'll probably start wearing it a little bit on the stream just because I like the Sailor Aubie thing, and I haven't had that. But and then I try to match up orange, and if I'm wearing orange, not wear this one, or if I'm wearing blue, not wear that other one I typically wear. But that's been added. I know I keep saying that also this stuff's going to be changing. It is. I'm just trying to find the time to do so. So we may have a different way we set up the hats too here. All right, let's roll through here, see what we got going on. Little Bosnia. Love Filip Jovic, our player. There you go. Great game for him last time, wasn't it? He's a great member of this team. Let's see. Never, ever follow people like Paul Feinbaum or Kevin Skarbinski. They try to start stuff on purpose. Or is that who we're talking about? The Goodmans. Yeah, the Goodmans, they always try to start stuff. They try to start stuff. This way people hate watch or hate click. I know people who met Binsky. He's an absolute jerk. Yeah, I don't know who that is, unless that's who he confirmed who he was talking about earlier. You were going to come into the TikTok. Oh yeah, generator stuff's been tough. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is awesome because we have had tonight on the show. Let's get a count on everybody. Unbeaten Lake. I don't know where you're checking in from, unless I missed yours. We've got Minnesota, Chicago, so Illinois, Alabama, Georgia, Bosnia. Who else wants to check in tonight from the Auburn show? As a former Navy, I love the Auburn wearing the traditional Dixie Cup hat. It's Sailor Obby to us, but you're right. You're probably correct there. War Eagle Chris, we love. Kyle, can I come on and talk with you? This is what Auburn Family Night's all about. You're on YouTube, so the link is pinned up at the top. So all you got to do is click it. Then you select if you want to be on camera, off camera. All we ask is for you to contribute and behave. But yes, and this is what Auburn Family Night is about. We had Brian who called in earlier, so no need to even ask. It is available for you this evening, sometimes at our own risk and own issues sometimes. So fire away, War Eagle G27. Let's see here. So I would assume, Dark Star, that is your favorite player on Auburn's basketball team, if I'm not mistaken. Are you from Bosnia, or are you visiting? Are there on work? But either way, it's really cool. So I can probably say with some definitiveness that we have not had someone check in one of our live streams from Bosnia. We have had New Zealand. We have had England or UK, Ireland. Just throw all the pieces in there. Probably Scotland too. I know we've had like Taiwan or something like that. We've had Japan, yes. We've had a lot of people check in from around the world here on this show. So Auburn's that has nothing to do with us. It's the Auburn reach, but that's pretty cool. You're surprised Cam hasn't sued more people in the media. I don't think Cam is worried about them. He just does his thing and doesn't listen to the bulletin board material. Well, he got to experience a lot of that in college from a certain fan base, Micah. So he probably is used to it at this point. All right, we got our next caller ready. He asked permission, and of course he can come on in. So let's get him in here. He goes by War Eagle G27. Can we get your name, sir?
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, how you doing, man? What do you want to go by War Eagle G27, or do you got another name?
I got a name. It's Brian.
Brian, good to see you, man. What's going on?
So I just found out that we got a Miami offensive line.
Is that true?
Signed.
Is that true? Like, is that a new signing that I'm not aware of? Stuff happens when I'm on this show all the time.
I found it on Instagram.
Okay, let me just double check and make sure that is. Oh, I think he's correct. So listen, we got breaking news right here from our first time guest. It looks like from offensive tackle, 6'4", 310 pounds. Just committed to Auburn, I guess, during the show as he's breaking news here. Wow. You want to try to pronounce that name, or should I? That's a tough one to pronounce right there. Dersay Plaz. That's all. That's the best I can do. And when I do our videos about giving you the facts about that one, that's going to be tough for me to pronounce. I'll try to figure it out by then. But yeah, good. Thanks for letting us know about that. I was sitting here unaware of it. What else you got tonight?
Let's see. You heard about the baseball? Got the five ranking.
Yeah, I think on one of the preseason polls, one also had them at 9, and I think another had them somewhere between that. So we're looking at probably a safe average, at least what people suspect, of them being like, top 10, between 5 and 10, somewhere in there. That's a pretty good start for the year with a very young team. So I assume that you're a big Auburn baseball fan.
I'm a big, well, everything,
Yeah,
Auburn
of course.
football, baseball, basketball, and a little bit of golf.
A little bit of golf too. So yeah, I would assume then that you're a big fan of Jackson Coyven as our star player.
I followed some of that golf, and I
Yeah.
was very glad that we won the national championship.
That was a nice little surprise. That was a nice little surprise. Did you happen to, now, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from Alabama.
Alabama. Did
From
you
the Prattville area?
Oh, well, you're right near Auburn. Did you happen to come to Auburn for that big celebration they had for that national title?
I did not.
It was very impromptu.
So
yeah, no, I understand. It was very kind of like last minute. Hey, come to this. I just happened to be anticipating it. So if you want to go watch that it's on our YouTube channel. We filmed the whole thing. And it's pretty cool because they had like confetti. It's right at Toomer's Corner. So it was like, honestly, I don't say this just to pander because it's golf and we want to get a chance to talk about it. But it was one of the cooler like Auburn experience things that I've had because we just first one of its kind. And so that was just really cool.
Yeah, I saw that video and that was actually a good view from where you had.
I got there very early. And I went and asked certain Auburn officials, and I said, look, I know I'm not a traditional media member and I've not asked for a press credential or anything, but what are the chances I could just set up behind the media people and do my best to film this? They said, as long as you don't impede others from viewing, we don't care. And I had this perfect spot. And of course, one of the actual media members set up right in front of me. And they even said, and I kind of said, yeah, I think we'll be fine. But then as soon as he started putting his stuff up, he was completely my view. So instead of me being able to just kind of relax there, and I have it's like a little stick that I put my camera on to film it. I had it's not even a tripod. It was called a monopod. So I could turn easier and stuff like that. I had to go from setting it on the ground easily to holding it up the entire time so that I could view the thing. But yes, so we got a good view.
They were the good view when I saw it, when you posted it.
Yeah, so. Well, I'm glad you saw that. So that's out there. But we got maybe we'll have some more excitement from golf this year. What else is on your mind, sir?
What did you think about the basketball so far?
So far, I think they're certainly taking their lumps this year from playing the top of the top when they played the Purdues, the Arizonas, things like that. I would say the frequency with which they struggled against those top teams was a little bit, unnerving at times, but it would be more of a thing to be concerned about if it had been against bad teams, but these were against the best of the best. I think it really boils down to this team is still just trying to figure out who its leaders are, its identity is, and how they're best going to all cooperate together. And I think the times that we have seen it all work really well, you could see how good this team can be. When you take Houston down to the wire and, nearly beat them that way, that's an impressive thing to do. They've shown that they can compete with some of the other better teams and have gotten those wins on the road. So I wouldn't say that they've exceeded expectations. I also don't think they've underperformed either. I think that they're just kind of right where they need to be given some of the questions about this year.
First year.
Yeah, it's a first year too. So just because his name is Bruce Pearl, or his last name is Pearl, doesn't mean it's not gonna be perfect right away. But it also doesn't mean that it's as people like to call it, a nepo hire, a nepotism hire. It's such a, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, that's such a low energy take on that type of thing. It's just not. It takes no effort to say things like that. But certainly I would like to see some things have happened differently. I'm not concerned at this moment, though.
Do you still see him as a head coach the next couple of years?
I don't really have any reason to think he won't be at this point. He's not like I said, it's not like he's lost to teams he really shouldn't have. You might be able to say like the Missouri game is the worst case scenario of that, but that's not really that a bad case scenario. It's not about that one loss. It's about what kind of things look like. Is the team unraveling around him, things like that. So I wouldn't suspect, from what we can see, any concerns about him being the head coach or not being the head coach anytime soon.
Let's see. What else?
We got time for probably like one more question.
Did you like how Golish is doing so far as our new head coach?
Yeah. So the only thing that I can really grade him on is transfer portal stuff. So, and it's hard to really gauge whether that's a success yet because we haven't played a single down football yet. Don't know if they were the right ones. I think there are a lot of reasons to be satisfied with what he did in the transfer portal. He went out and got a lot of additions that make sense to give you the best chance of having a success in your first year, because just because you go and sign a Cam Coleman, like say Cam wasn't here, that doesn't necessarily translate into you being a much better team just because you got one player. But if you go get a bunch of guys that know your system, certainly that could, and seems to indicate that could translate into some early stability for your offense. He has very quickly replenished the majority of everybody that has left. I forget the official number that left for the portal. I think it was like in the 36 area. I think he's brought in now 34.
It was like 30 something, like 34 or something like that, and we got like 36 now. I think
you let me see if we can confirm that based off one site, just so that it's a good information for us all to be aware of at this point. And that it obviously, as you broke the news here, it just changed.
I've looked on it on the on 3, and when you would look at the players, you would see that who goes out and who goes in. Like how many went out, how many went in. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at 24/7 right now is the first one that came up. They're reporting 37 out, 36 in now. So 35 in now. So he is 2 away from replenishing bodies that left. Now, what areas did he replenish more of? You also have to factor in NFL draft, graduation, stuff like that. But, right now the focus was, hey, everybody who just decided to Amscray, let's make sure we fill those bodies right now. So the numbers wise, he's almost there, and he did that in pretty quick fashion. So I would say maybe to get away from being a long-winded here, if you're looking for something like a grade based off the very limited things I'd have out there, I think he's sitting probably somewhere in the A- range, because it feels good. It looks good on paper. There's not really a cause.
It just have to be proven on the field.
Exactly. But also we want to start seeing things like, what does the feel of the program look like as we get more used to him and how it's being run and things like that. So, that kind of stuff will come with time in the off season. Then we'll have spring ball, and then we'll have fall practice. And so we'll get a little bit more acquainted before we have. And so right now, it's hard for me to not say that he is in the A category, but also there's not a lot for me to just say he's exceeded all expectations, So
I got one last thing.
Yeah.
How'd you like the new Jumbotron that's on the opposite side from where the Jumbotron that has the press box? There's a new Jumbotron.
I'm a big nostalgia person, so I don't like change all that much. I love that old scoreboard. I think it's one of the things that kept us connected to the past. However, it's very nice to now, depending on where, when you were in the stadium, you always had to look to one side no matter what. Now it doesn't matter where you were. You just go, hey, or if you're in the end zone that wasn't facing, you got something to check in on. Because as much as you're there to watch the game that's there in front of you, you want to see like the replay and say, did he, that kind of thing. So makes it a little bit easier. It certainly helps with acoustics and the feel of the stadium, closing things in a little bit. It felt new and fresh last year. I'm sure we'll just all be used to it when we get back in there in the next season. So I like it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had to ask. And so
Brian, well, it was good to hear from you, my friend. Thanks for calling in, and please don't be a stranger. We'd love to hear from you again.
Yeah.
All right. War Eagle, man.
War Eagle.
All right. Two great calls this evening. Yeah, 2. So awesome. Heard from one of our regulars, heard from someone new. Great to see him. Thank you so much to Brian and to Brian. 2 Brians tonight, double Brians. Appreciate you guys. Let's see. Kyle's very underrated for some of the filming for ET. Well, I appreciate that. It's just a phone and a monopod a lot of the time, so we do what we can. This is from Dark Star. Visiting here, I kind of heard of Philip Jovic for a while and watched him play, and I like him. He's a good player, and my English is not too good. Comes through fine over here, my man. Have you heard me? My southern drawl? I got no room to talk. All right. Last minute questions, comments, topics, derogatory rebuttals that are productive. Get them in now. Get them in fast. Get them in while it's hot. We're closing down the phone line. If you are in line, we can certainly say hello for a minute, but we got to pop off here. But certainly if you were accessing it, you can try real quickly before we get out of here. Reminders for you. Please pay attention to these because we've got some programming switcheroos here leading into next week you need to be aware of. The next thing for you, the Auburn postgame show. I almost said the other thing. Auburn postgame show, Auburn versus Florida. Now, keep in mind, as was spoken about earlier, this weather could cause havoc. So we'll figure it out. We'll see what we can do. But if you're going to be in Florida watching this game for Auburn, you're in a much better situation than all of us probably. They're a little bit further north than you. So postgame show, hopefully for that. Same for Auburn experience. Episode 159. If it's not bad, we shouldn't have any issues, but that'll be at 9 Eastern time on Sunday. I've had these out of order again. So let me backtrack here. What's up next? Tomorrow night, spring Auburn uniforms. Clint Richardson is back in the house. Hope you'll join us for that. He's going to talk about that. We will probably get into a little bit about the winter stuff too, since we weren't able to meet preseason or before all that. So come join us tomorrow. He'll certainly take a little bit of Q&A at the end. That'll be at 8 Eastern time. So 8 Eastern time tomorrow, post game right after the game, whenever that ends for Auburn versus Florida, 9 Eastern time on Sunday for the Auburn experience. And then we'll be back next week on Wednesday. So there will be no Auburn family night. Auburn versus Texas in Auburn, Alabama. So because there's a conflict, we will just do the post game show. But I believe after this one, there's fewer, maybe 1 or 2 others coming up where we'll have conflicts with Auburn Family Night. So we should be getting through the bulk of it here pretty soon. So that is that. As always, we want to remind you, if you can, to check out some of our links that are available to you, whether you want to connect with us, whether you want to get involved, support, all those different things. As I try to scramble to find it, it's just not here in front of me. I am stalling. There you go. We'll put that in the chat for you guys right now. That's a link tree. So please check that out, access that, and get involved, especially if you want to be part of the Conquer Club, the Patreon, and get access to all those different perks that are available there. That's a good way to access that. All right. Last few things here. Is there anything else that we needed to add? Uniform Boy show tomorrow night. I'll wear my Dustbuster shirt in honor of him. I'm sure he will appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. Got it. I think we covered it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and participating this evening. We'll hope to see you all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 Central sharp, for Clint Richardson and talking some Auburn uniforms. You guys are awesome. You're the best. As we go, I remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.